Hi everyone. Today I am here with Jack. He's the founder of and the CEO of eSki, which is an electric powered personal watercraft product. And it's like a big dream. And I want to understand how Jack found this idea and then how he made it happen. So Jack, thank you very much to be here today with us. How are you?
Good, how are you? Thank you.
Very good, very good. Thank you very much. So, I have many questions for you, but I would like to start with your story, your journey. So, how it started, how you met SolidWorks, and then how your life is changed, and how you become a CEO.
Yeah. So sort of the story behind the company is I in the third grade was diagnosed with a visual impairment. So I'm legally blind. And I always say I was born a car guy that can't drive a car. Because of that, I kind of got into recreational vehicles because that was the way that I figured out, how I could still drive without having a license. Um, but as I got older, I started realizing that the vehicles that kind of made me an avid outdoorsman were doing more harm to the environment than I think I'd realized, especially growing up, and I think a lot of people realize. I decided to do something about it. Um, I attended Worcester Polytechnic Institute, got my mechanical engineering degree, and while I was there, had a 3D modeling class where they taught us SolidWorks, and honestly, it was one of my favorite classes. I really fell in love with the software.
What
Um,
was the reason? Because it's easy to use, or you like the SolidWorks? What was the reason?
I think honestly, it kind of comes back to my visual impairment. I always loved working on things, but in terms of like making things, it was always hard for me to like let's just say cut a piece of wood to 2 inches exactly. But with SolidWorks, I could make the model and be as exact as I knew I could be in my head. It was just my visual impairment that was sort of limiting me. In SolidWorks, the fact that I could make it, not just 2 inches long, but I could make it, you know, 2.0001 inches long. And then, I'd usually 3D print or something like that. I could kind of finally have that sort of accuracy that I knew I could do. Is just my visual impairment was sort of holding me back. So I think it's really what I think I really loved about SolidWorks is just that I was like, I can finally create the things that I know I can create, um, that are in my head, I guess.
Amazing. So basically, how old you were when you started to use SolidWorks? You were like around your 20s, I think.
Yeah, it would have been like 19 or 20, somewhere in the neighborhood.
Okay. So if I may ask, I mean, I wonder if you had this idea in that age. You were always thinking that you are gonna be CEO, you will create something, or how it happened. So tell me about it, please.
Yeah, I mean, really, it was just I think I'm always kind of looking at things and seeing problems. And I think that's sort of the entrepreneurial mindset is noticing problems and then coming up with solutions to them. So for me, the problem was I kept on spilling gas, filling up my jet ski, and um, I knew that it was pumping CO2 into the water and unburned fuel and oil. To me, the solution was to electrify it. My plan was never necessarily to start a company. I was planning on going into mechanical engineering and working for a company and just kind of just kind of doing that. But I had the idea in college, graduated, and I was like, what, hey, this kind of feels like the time to give it a shot. Why not? Um, why not try and build my own company? So I just went for it.
Excellent. It is actually it is. So how did you because you were using SolidWorks when you were in college, then you decided to have your own startup. So how SolidWorks was supporting you in this your journey?
Yeah. I mean, so I'd always had, my college's license. I was using that throughout my entire career. Um, and then sorry about that. They're I had their license, and then when I graduated and started to pursue the company, I knew I needed SolidWorks because that was a software that I was used to, and the my college's license expired because obviously I wasn't going there anymore. So I started just looking into how to get licenses, and you know how do I never purchased a SolidWorks license, and I actually came across a YouTube video talking about SolidWorks startup program. And in the description for the video, there was a link to the application. So I immediately I watched the video and I filled the application right then and there. Um, and that was actually I got approved, and that was actually like the first thing that I ever really got. I had 3 SolidWorks licenses and no employees. It was just
Great start. Great start. Okay.
I was like, all right, I got licenses, now I need engineers to use them.
Yes. I'm sure it wasn't easy to find people who know SolidWorks, was it?
I think a lot of people, at least, some of the people that I had found, some of them were fellow WPI students. One of them was an RPI student, and they'd all had, especially if you're from WPI, they all have experience with SolidWorks. And the RPI student, I think it had a little bit, but you picked up quick. Um, I don't know. To me, like SolidWorks is just sort of the standard. I know there's some other softwares out there, but I think even in looking for people, I just sort of expect you know at least some knowledge of SolidWorks, because to me that's just I don't know, that's just what it is.
True, true. So now, how many people you have in your team?
So we have 5 right now. We're actually onboarding a couple of interns too, so there should be a couple more
Y-
um, coming on this summer.
which is amazing because imagine you were a student and now you become a CEO and then now you are become an employer,
Yeah.
which is great. And I'm happy to hear that SolidWorks was with you during your journey. So I want to to talk about your also challenges you
Mhm.
faced during this journey and then how you just get rid of them. So can you talk about it a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, I would say some of the challenges for sure have been sort of, I was never trained to be a founder or CEO.
Of
Um, you
course.
know, I'm a mechanical engineer, so I think especially engineers as a whole maybe are a little less prone to talking, I'll say. And obviously that's now become majority of my job is having meetings, going to networking events, trying to get investors. Um, so it was certainly a bit of a learning curve to be like, okay, well, I just got to talk. um, leading people, I would say is one that I've improved upon, but I'm always still trying to improve upon every skill that I have. I'm always trying to get better at networking. I'm always trying to become a better leader. Um, and just uh, I think there's also a bit of a mindset shift from when you're an engineer. There's always like the right solution, and the right solution might not necessarily be the most cost effective solution. Um, so when you're in charge of the money and the engineering, you start having a bit of a a shift in perspective of, okay, this is the right answer, but is there a cheaper way to do this while still accomplishing the goal? um, so yeah, I think it's just being able to learn, adapt, and improve, I guess.
Yeah, I mean the product looks so cool. Did you guys have started to sell it or is still you are still working on it?
Yeah, so we're still working on it. We do have pre-orders open. Really right now the big name of the game is we're doing a fundraising round to try and build, a couple of you call them MVPs, they're minimum viable products. It's basically, it's like a pre-production unit. So we're trying to do a fundraise now, trying to find the right investors, to help fund this next stage, and then there it's manufacturing.
Wow, it's really cool because when I was reading your website, I saw it and I said, "Oh my God, I want to pre-order this." It's like very cool, and then the summer is coming, in here. So
Yes.
this is. I hope you'll sell more than you think in the future. I'm sure because this is like a cool product, and of course you designed with SolidWorks, which is great. Um, I want to also ask, some advices. I wonder if you have any advices for students, to inspire them for their future.
Yeah. I would say, for me, it's always, I think a big thing is, take risks. Um, I think you can, a comfortable life is great, but what's life if not, taking risk and taking chances. Um, always be on lookout for a problem. If there's ever a problem in your life, there's a solution to it, and always be open to those solutions, and for all that could be a business. Um, I mean, somebody like, for example, Airbnb. They had an empty room in their house, and they said, I don't want a long term lease this. I just want somebody to come in, occasionally. And that was their problem. Was we have an empty room. What do I do with it? And the solution was short term rentals. And now it's a multi-billion-dollar company. So just
I'm sure it will happen to you too as well because I see the product and I see your vision. It's amazing. And so, what's your next step now? You said you are working on the fundraising and.
yeah. So once we get that in, we have pretty much all the CAD done, all the schematics, all the wiring diagrams. So it's really just ordering the parts, putting them together, and then getting in the hands of customers. Seeing any feedback, any changes we need to make, um, and then get it certified and tested and hitting the waters.
Amazing. So hopefully we can try soon, maybe next year.
Yeah.
We will have another video in front of the ocean when I'm driving that. Wonderful. Let's do it. Excellent. Thank you very much for your time and this interview. I'm sure it will inspire many students who wants to be just like you, because you were using SolidWorks when you were a student. Now you are the founder and the CEO of your dreams as well. So, which is a great story. I'm very happy to meet you, Jack. Thank you very much.
Thank you.